Tank Tank Pictures presents the combat sports double feature of the century. Child-mocking psychopath Renan Ferreira takes on the Sandman and boxing goat Francis Ngannou in a battle of the giants. Ah, you love those old kaiju flicks. Shown right next to it at the Soda Hop Drive-In Extravaganza, the Wolfman from the Michael Jackson Thriller video, Michel Pereira and Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias will be going at it in the new Abbott and Costello flick. 2 Universal monster movies for the price of one. Jumpin' Jehoshaphat. That's a steal at the booth if I've ever seen one. Skatesman?
Yeah, I agree, I guess.
It's worth a pop. And popcorn. And wieners. We love our wieners.
Wieners.
Our weenies. You gotta get, oh yeah. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Eat me! Eat me! No jokes.
Yeah.
But anyway, GG Willikers, I'm looking forward to this. Battle of the Giants. I mean, that's just a great name. You gotta love that old CGI ass Marvel 2011 trailer that PFL did, and then your UFC did the merciful thing and had 3 women's fights in a row so that we could get them out of the way. It wasn't that kind of them, Skatesman.
I guess.
Yeah, we got to get to the good stuff at the end, right? But yeah,
well, Cyborg is fighting. I mean, that's always fun.
That's why I'm doing my super stream fight companion, Hank the Tank, for probably 8 damn hours. Just for you. I'm going to fucking go to war. I'm going to fucking stream on my ass and probably get him, whatever the fuck that is, for you guys.
Hemorrhoids?
Yes, yes. I'm going to get hemorrhoids sitting on my ass too long for you fucking guys.
All right. Well, before we get into it, Kobe Wiggles in the place. Chadrew Duchesne, what's up? Rob's neighbor says, "Have you checked out Spacel yet?"
Yes. He compares me to Space Ice, the one guy that I actually look comparable to, and my voice, because I have a little bit of Kermit the Frog in me. So we have the same vocal.
Mushroom MMA. I don't think I've seen this guy before. He says,
I was in a little Fight Night
Frankie chat,
and I saw Mushroom MMA in his chat, and he was like, "Dude, I want to subscribe to you." So Fight Night Frankie showed the link, and we got some new people here.
Solid, man. Good to hear. So yeah, I mean, what are you looking forward to most this weekend? Besides Francis versus Renan Ferreira.
Well, obviously, I love Pereira versus Hernandez because I think Hernandez is criminally underrated, and I'm glad that he's finally getting a main event because he has so many sick finishes and sick submissions, and you don't have a lot of guys besides maybe Moicano who can do some really fun stuff on the ground. And meanwhile, Michel Pereira, I think he's going to be a star in the middleweight division. I think he's definitely going to crack that middleweight top 5. He has to deal with a pretty tough test in Fluffy Hernandez first. So I love that fight. I think I love the whole UFC main card. It's always nice to have a bunch of Polish steroid freaks on Saturday as well. So
KSW.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, I mean, a lot of shows for Hank's locks and picks as well. So, which I'm going to get through later on, but big MMA weekend. And that's not even counting PFL and UFC. Lots of stuff to digest.
There's a lot of boxing going on this weekend. I think it's like everybody's having a card this weekend.
Well, Tim Tszyu's supposed to be fighting, right?
Yep, Tim Tszyu's going to fight. Mirzataliev should be a good fight. Personally, though, I'm looking most forward to Rise this weekend. Friday Fights is tomorrow for 1. That'll be good. Always fantastic. But just sucks that it's on so early in the morning. But yes, Rise Kickboxing. I'll be doing a whole fight companion for that. I'll be staying up well into the night. Probably even going to do this Japanese martial arts expo. I'll talk a little bit about that.
The Idaho Skatesman way, or should I say the Isha way?
I guess it's the Isha way because it's all Japanese stuff.
Yes, and it's the greatest thing in MMA since sliced bread.
Well, it's kickboxing, but yes. Sure.
And also, what I'm looking forward to with UFC is the co-main event. Font and Kyler Phillips. That's going to be a great back and forth.
Kyler Phillips back. He seems to not fight very regularly.
Yeah. Finally, CJ is going to be on a main card against Sumo Derji, and that's going to be a yeah. Charles Johnson. Hey, okay. CJ, chill. And then, of course, who can forget Darren the Damage Elkins.
Oh God,
greatest star of all time. On the same level of us as Andre.
Can't believe he's still fighting. But yeah, I haven't even looked at the UFC card. Honestly, I just know what the main event is. So looking forward to getting into all that. But yeah, give us your locks and underdogs for the weekend.
Well, I got a good amount of them. I believe I have 3 shows that I gave the locks and underdogs to. I couldn't do it for the Sue boxing card because I just couldn't be bothered. So, but we have first and foremost. Oh God, what the hell is this card even? Oh, it's LFA 194. And the first thing I'm going to mention is my lock for the show. Miravzel Akhmatov. I have him by round 1 KO. Akhmatov was initially supposed to face a guy named Cedric Gunnison in the LFA's lightweight division, and many predictors already had Akhmatov by KO in the first round. That fight has since been canceled, and now he will be facing old Scotty Stockman. Motherfucker Stockman. Yeah, I'm dealing with Stockman. Diaz on me. Who's currently dealing with the 2-fight skid, spanning a few promotions on the regional scene, telling me he's taken on the new role of the fall guy for these organizations' new prospects. And LFA's Miravzel Akhmatov is no exception. Aside from a fight in karate combat, he's been putting every one of his regional opponents out in the first round, while Stockman has been getting dusted within a round as of late. So for once, Scotty's going to be the one getting beamed up to the pearly gates of heaven when the Palestinian Chad, Bilal, wants to be, takes his head off. Mirko by left leg cemetery. Yeah.
It was close. It was close to some dangerous territory there.
Very, very, very close. I had one key term, but I didn't go much further.
Yeah, nice. He saved it good, though.
It didn't turn out like no chill. And then we have my underdog for LFA. I'm actually going to go with Alfonso Leyva in the main event against Shamid Khan Magomedov, the former tough contestant this year. I'm going with Leyva by round 2 KO. This was one of the few underdogs suggested by the picking community for this LFA card. And given the name of the guy being faded, it's even more surprising. Come on, you're a Magomedov. You're supposed to be undefeated at your weight class, win a belt 4 fights into your career, have a couple of defenses, and then leave when mama wants you back. Instead, Shamid Khan Magomedov got super sloppy in his quarterfinals fight on the Ultimate Fighter this year, no diddy, and walked right into getting subbed by a Lebanese gorilla. So, no, seriously, that's what Omran Shaban calls himself. Anyway, he got a little exposed on tough, and some are thinking that he might get further embarrassed by his fellow challenger for the LFA's ultra prestigious interim welterweight championship in Alfonso Leyva. This guy thinks he's Max Holzer in Octagon because he's been getting round 2 KO after round 2 KO over and over and over again. Now with Shah Mid Khan coming off an uncharacteristic performance in the striking and grappling. I'm sure the Skatesman loved that pun. I could just hear it in his voice. Leyva might just survive the first round with him and stay true to his moniker Sniper and catch the crotch sniffer with a big shot coming in that puts the lights out. What the hell? It's worth a shot. Sorry, Magomedov, you're not inbred enough like the rest of the fam. And Ola Alfonso, making sure that was your first and last UFC tryout. So, rip. Whap, whap, whap. Hey, we got some people in the chat.
Yeah, we do. Denial, what's up, brother? What's up, chummy boy? Watch some kickboxing with me this weekend, my friend. Denial says, Kobe, who is your favorite fighter of this weekend? I'm sure Skate would love to hear your take. Yes, I would. I would love to hear all your guys' takes. Favorite fighter, favorite fight of the weekend.
Is it the one with the yellow shirt, the one with the red shirt, the one with the orange, the blue shirt?
How many Magomeds are there? A lot.
Extended.
I would argue like probably more Mohammeds, but I mean, obviously Magomed is like Mohammed, just like the Russian version. So, do you not have any more locks and underdogs for the weekend?
No, I do. I'm just pulling up the next tab.
But good to see you, Pulse. Good to see you, my friend.
Sir.
Shout out to Texas.
Hey, Patrick, what am I? Stupid? No, I'm Texas. What's the difference? Nah. Anyway, the next one I got on the table. We got good old Vasil Ducar against Bartosz Kure.
What card is this?
This is KSW 99, my brother.
KSW.
Yes, KSW. Hey, oh. I'm going with...
Right, here's the notes.
Vasil Ducar. I'm sorry, I'm getting to this one's going to be a Dylan length paragraph.
Oh no!
You're ready for this one. Vasil Ducar. I got him by decision. Both these guys suck but one of them seems like he's being given more low-level guys than the other, with Bartosz Kurek being given 0-0 and 0-1 guys in his last 2 professional fights. On the amateurs, this dude has lost to 1-2 guys, and while Vasil Ducar has also lost to guys he shouldn't have, he's more experienced than Kurek, and I think he can give him a good enough fight to just eke out a decision win. Grizzly bet, big midi hooks, yeah! Roids, luck, it's all coming together. Kurek's getting...
Is that all in your notes?
Yes. One by one. Kurek's getting effed with no Vaseline. Definitely no Diddy.
How many puns and jokes are in your notes?
Too many. It's just like the amount of Magomedovs there are in the world, Skatesman. But anyway, then we have my big lock for the card in Stefan Wojcik in the main event by round 1 knockout. It seems like Stefan Wojcik has fought a higher caliber of competition in Roid Freak City as of late than the more weathered and now kind of unimpressive Michel Martinez. He's knocked out undefeated prospects early into his fights and literally beat a dude by just laying on top of him and smothering him with his frame. They called it as a submission. He just laid on him. He's called.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. No, dude, if only Cameron Smotherman was able to have a finish like that, then that name would actually stick.
Who knows who that is?
He's called Mutant. Well, you'll know who Smotherman is very soon. He's called Mutant for a reason. He's been taking radioactive EPO compared to the other Hulks in KSW. Plus, he's at heavyweight, more room for it to flow through the body. Meanwhile, his age-old opponent, Blackbeard, Martinek, has been spending a bit too much time in David Jones' locker, getting KO'd by 16-8 and 18-6 guys, most recently finding a knockout of an 18-11 guy. Big whoop. I think this is a layup for the Toxic Avenger with a neat and tidy EPO KO in the first round. People on Tapology are saying this guy's good enough to get the attention of Dana, and I'd listen to him. He's got to get that 50 G's, baby. Yeah, there's my lock for
That wasn't terrible. What's up, Larry? Good to see you. Any more locks and underdogs before we get into the meat and potatoes of the weekend?
Yes, there is one more that I would like to mention. I believe it's sandwiched between PFL superfights and UFC. Dude, I want to have fucking Heather and Monica.
What kind of sandwich?
Shit sandwich because it's Brave.
I don't know.
Here we go.
I don't even know who watches those fucking cards, man.
I do.
Why? You're not going to watch this card, though. When was the last Brave card you actually watched? Like the whole card?
I watched the one a few weeks ago.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I know it's truly a fate worse than death. Even worse than death is doing all these underdogs and locks, but I still do it for you guys. And my first underdog for the card is going to be Tony Sipos by round 1 submission. Oscar Mendez nearly lost to a 1-3 guy by split decision, and his first loss was to a 1-6 guy. I could basically pick Tony Sipos by whatever method of victory I want in this fight. He'll get it done either way, and I can't believe he's an underdog here. Of the two of them, Sipos also seems to be more of a finisher on the ground, whereas Mendez is perfectly willing to grind his way to a decision. And on the regional scene especially, it's usually best to just choose the finisher since there's a higher chance of one. So yeah, I think Sipos is going to be trouble for Mendez, as his nickname suggests. He'll make him look sillier in that cage than he's looked already. And he'll find that patented rear naked choke he likes to use for the easy first round submission win. Hopefully Brave has some more 1-6 guys for him after this to recover, And then my big lock, and I believe this one's yet another main event. I am going with Kamal Magomedov by round 1 sub. Finally, a Russian fighting for a welterweight belt named Magomedov I can get behind. This guy, Kamal, is built different. Roids? No. He has a 100% finish rate with as many knockouts as he has submissions. Eat your heart out, Shavkat. And despite being an inbred Dagestani, has excellent BJJ in particular. And I'm not just talking about his private time with the Brave CEO in his office. He's had many different submissions on top and on bottom. That's what she said. And when he's not getting it done on the feet, he's knocking his opponents out, just as Allah truly intended. Gotta love this type of Dagestani fighter. Kamal's opponent for his first title defense, Donald Luis Cotto, is also an experienced BJJ guy in the cage and backstage with all sorts of submissions in Brave, and recently joining Poirier's Gilly Goose Gang with a quick and lucky sub of an 11-2 opponent. Unfortunately, I think Cotto's luck is running out here, though, as he's been subbed himself before, and a Russian submission and striking expert is a scary-ass combination for just about anyone to deal with, much less a Brazilian jiu-jitsu soy boy. Just ask Mr. Oliveira. The golden boy, Cotto, who's already lost his sheen with 7 L's in his resume, will not be better on the feet than Kamal. And after he gets dropped in round 1, he's getting a limb pried apart for the easy tap out. Different levels. Finally, someone who can bring honor to the Magomedov family name this week. So there you go.
I don't get like all the inbred and like the Allah and like I don't get all these jokes, man. Like I don't understand it. Is it just because these guys achieved such a high level in the UFC with the last name Nurmagomedov?
They have a very tight-knit family, Skatesman.
I don't know.
In one region in Dagestan.
I'm just not in on the joke. Like I don't think it's funny. I don't know.
I see. Well, I would recommend that you look up Islam Makhachev sitting, front row seat for a show, and you see that face he does, and you'll get what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, I just think I don't know if it's cool to just shit on people's religion and call them all inbred just because they're from Dagestan.
I wasn't making fun of his religion.
I'm just saying I just don't like. I'm not in on the joke. It's not funny to me. But yeah, good locks and underdogs for the weekend. The IBA had a card in Russia on YouTube today, and Beterbiev was in the ring to present a belt to the winner. Interesting. IBA had a card. So yeah, there's all the regional stuff happening this weekend. One thing I want to talk about quickly is that here in like 9 hours is one Friday fights. And one fight I'm very interested in is the return of Pontpayak. Pontpayak is a man who has traded wins and losses with Superlek. I think their official record is like 7-4. 4 wins from Pontpayak, 7 wins for Superlek. Chummy Boy knows what I'm talking about. Pontpayak, let's go. He is a long time attendee of the Chatri jail system. Guy hasn't fought in forever. Just been begging for a fight. CST even did I think one of their guys did an interview with him. Super interesting to see.
Yikes.
Him just not fight for a long time because again, just competitive fights with Superlek. Even in their last fight, it was pretty competitive. This is before Superlek went on his big name run. But yes, Pontpayak is back. Super excited to see him come back and just see what he does. So yes, definitely one worth watching, even if you don't watch it live. Just go back and check out Pontpayak. Oh, Chummy Boy correcting me. Thank you very much. He says it's 5 wins for Pontpayak and 4 wins for Superlek. Okay, yeah. Either way, they fought each other a shit ton of times. And very competitive fights in both or in all of their fights. So yes, I'm very excited to see Pontpayak back. Hope he makes a big splash and yeah, it'll be good shit. Like I said, if you don't watch it live, go back and watch it. It's free on YouTube. So check out Pontpayak this weekend.
So is that the one highlight of the one card?
Definitely the biggest name on the card and one guy definitely worth watching.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool. It'll definitely be fun to watch. Do you want to get to PFL Battle of the Giants as a card first and then go to UFC, or is there anything else you want to mention?
So there is a few things that I wanted to mention. Just the fact that there's a card happening before Rise on Saturday. It's going to be this shit called the Japanese Martial Arts Expo.
I see K1 there.
Yeah, it's somehow promoted by K1. Yes, this will be happening. There's going to be some MMA fights. There's going to be some grappling matches, unfortunately. What the fuck is this? 1 out of 8? Oh, professional grappling. Got it. There's going to be some kickboxing matches. Former K1 champion Taito Gunji is going to fight for a ISKA belt. Who cares? That's basically like the NABF, regional America's continental belt.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's going to be some kickboxing matches.
Are any of these guys K1 kickboxers?
Yeah, Gunji is or was. Yeah. Or maybe he was the Rise champ. But what I'm really most interested in is the main event. It'll be an exhibition boxing match, unfortunately, but it will be against Bukaw.
Yeah.
Versus
that's right.
Cozy. So Cozy had an amazing fight
with Ashizawa, right?
Yeah, Ashizawa. Yes, fucking fantastic fight in his last fight. And Bukaw is coming off of knocking out Minoru Kimura on the last Risen Landmark show. So yes, I'm super interested in that. Oh shit, I never had that on the screen. My bad. But yes, Bukaw will be taking on Cozy.
How do you think
that's super late tonight? I think I'm going to cover this whole card. Japan Martial Arts Expo. And so I'm going to have a really fucking long Saturday night. It's going to go well into the morning. And also Sanchai. So Bukaw and Sanchai are both fighting this weekend. So Sanchai will be on Thai Fight. I probably won't watch it because it'll probably end as soon as Rise, or it's probably start as soon as Rise ends. So yeah, you can bet that I will not be watching that. And then obviously I'm going to cover the entire Rise card that is going down this weekend. Let me just pull it up really quick.
Who do you think is going to win between Cozy and Bukaw?
It's exhibition boxing, so
you might just go to a draw. Yeah,
it most definitely will go to a draw because it's only 3 rounds.
For some reason, I saw people like talking in the chat and Discords like, "Oh God, I'm scared for Bukaw," and I was like, "Really?"
It's Bukaw, bro. He'd be fine. Yeah. I don't think there's a title fight going. No. This is 5 rounds, so maybe just because it's the main event. But I'm not sure if there's a title fight going down on Rise. But yes, again, I don't know much about Rise at this point. It looks like this guy has a belt in the picture, so I'm guessing a belt is on the line. But yes, I don't know much about Rise, but I'm just trying to learn more about kickboxing, watch more kickboxing, cover more kickboxing. So I'll be watching that Rise card. You may get an appearance from Hank the Tank, but he is going to stream all day Saturday, so that remains to be seen.
What impression do you have of Japanese kickboxing overall from your limited experience watching it?
Oh, I mean, I got a lot to say about that. So
yeah,
I've watched a lot of Glory. Okay, when I first started watching kickboxing, I watched Rise, and my thoughts on Rise was like, oh, it's a bunch of little Japanese dudes not knocking each other out at fucking 3 a.m, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I started watching Glory, and so Glory is like the heavier side of kickboxing as far as like the heavier weight classes.
Yeah.
And Glory had a good run the last couple years, but this year in particular has been a very down year for them. So it's kind of forced me to watch more Rise, and honestly, like a lot of Rise fighters fight on Ryzen cards. So it's kind of exposed. McKee is a Ryzen fighter, or Rise fighter,
right?
Former Rise champ. Tensei Nasukawa, obviously, longtime Rise champ.
Yeah,
and
that
K1. What's that?
Combat sports has a rich history. You just got to keep diving deep.
Right, and so like, and then obviously watching one has got me into kickboxing. So what happened was, I started to realize that like Rise and K1, for some reason, is the highest level of the sport. But one seems to be the biggest stage.
Yeah.
But if you're like a heavier weight fighter, you got to fight in Glory because they're going to fight you more often. You know what I'm saying?
So it's like it's a split by like weight classes between the
sort of
promotions.
One somehow is the highest level of the sport, like I said. And or sorry, not one is the biggest stage, but they have a lot more Muay Thai. But the Muay Thai they have is like different from every other Muay Thai promotion with the small gloves. Like traditional Muay Thai, to me, as far as watching it, like it's not very exciting. There's a lot of clinching, a lot of knees. I think that you just have to be a better puncher in kickboxing.
Yeah,
and you obviously can't elbow. So I don't know why, but K1 and Rise, just that's the highest level of the sport and the most action packed, in my opinion. So I'm hooked on kickboxing. I want to watch as much kickboxing as I can.
Excellent.
Got to stay up super late.
Yeah,
but
2 fights before, also another old school guy from Kiatmo 9.
Kit Mukau is Super Lex Gym.
Renan Ferreira is basically Robelis Despaigne, freak athlete, sloppy ass striking, but dangerous because of attributes, 0 grappling. And that's going to go a little bit into into my pick for the main event of that fight. Buakaw is just doing side quests at this point. Yeah, he's a legend. He's a legend in the making.
He's 42.
Yeah, he's a living legend. So, I mean, it's gotten to the point where he's doing fucking random ass barbecues in California. So that guy is living the best life. The dude did everything already. He has rank in the military. Wow, I didn't know that. He was a promoter, a gym owner. He got like 2 major degrees. Buakaw is like the character at the end of an RPG collecting side. Yeah, after he's already completed the main story and now he's just going back a few levels in Pokemon. There is a lot of boxing and MMA that we are largely unaware of because they occur in BRICS countries. Do you know what that stands for, Skatesman?
Yeah, so the BRICS agreement is like Russia, India, China.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like all the countries that aren't in NATO.
Mm-hmm. It'd be fascinating to like go to those countries and actually like look around and see that, oh my God, this has like a huge kickboxing promotion here or Muay Thai stuff here.
I mean, there's a lot of fraudulent records coming out of countries, especially like China.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to go to Russia for some reason, and China too, but like India, not for me. Not for me. I'm not going to know India.
Yeah. Well, as soon as Kadyrov makes the call, Skatesman is going to be on his way there. You know, he owes him a few favors.
I mean, there's an argument to be made that like Chechnya, Dagestan are more like affiliated with the Ottoman Empire rather than Russia. They just kind of got sucked into Russia after the end of World War II.
Right. So. Lots of map redrawing, that's for sure. I like to check the IBA and IBF to see Cuban, Venezuelan, or Eastern European cards. Oh, I'd love to watch some Cuban MMA or Cuban boxing.
Hey, he's talking about IBA and IBF or
right. Boxing. That's boxing. Yeah, it's Cuban boxing on YouTube. Nice. Skates, I'm impressed you know about BRICS. I'm a poli-sci major. That's why I know.
Yeah, I like to watch like a lot of geopolitics shit. So yeah. Anyway, but yes, we're here to talk about the PFL card that's happening this weekend. I'm going to go ahead and make some picks. I'm sure that Hank the Tank has more picks than I do on this card.
Yeah.
I don't really care about every fight. Holy shit, Raufeon Stots is fighting? What the hell?
I mean, they got some super fights on here, Skatesman. It's called the Battle of the Giants for a reason.
Against Marcos Breno, a guy who lost a sub by Danny Sabatello.
Very
wow, he hasn't fought since that decision win of Danny Sabatello on the last Bellator card. I mean, you got to pick Raufeon Stots, right?
How do you pick him? I picked him as well. How do you want to?
Where do you want to cover any more fights below that?
Yeah, I mean, I picked every single fight. So if you just want to talk about the important ones, that's fine.
Yes, AJ McKee is going to fight Paul Hughes. Fantastic fight. Obviously, AJ McKee, is a lightweight. I think he fought at featherweight for most of his career, and then he must have. I think once he lost to Patricio, he went up to lightweight, fighting Spike Carlisle. So sick. Roberto de Souza on that fucking what was it? Ryzen. It was Ryzen versus Bellator, beating Sydney Outlaw, a vet, and then obviously triangle choking Clay Collard. Or does that say triangle choke? Triangle armbar. He's only 29. He's going to fight Paul Hughes. So I have heard of Paul Hughes. Like, what was he? Longtime Cage Warriors champ?
Yes, he beat a lot of good names in Cage Warriors.
Tell me about Paul Hughes.
Paul Hughes is solid. I think he's primarily a striker. He's outstruck some of the best in Cage Warriors. He even has a win over Jordan Vucenic, which has aged well given the great career that Vucenic had later on in the promotion. And he's just solid. He's technical everywhere. They see that belt around his shoulder. He's been able to win a belt in Cage Warriors. So he has a lot of experience. And I think he's only just recently getting into Bellator. I'm pretty sure. So he's had a few fights there. And he's sort of a young rookie on like the professional stage, the big three.
With that being said, not knowing a lot about Paul Hughes, I can't really pick against AJ McKee in this fight. I'm going to pick him by decision, but I don't really know how the fight's going to go. Like I said, I haven't seen a lot of Paul Hughes fights. I'm not familiar with his work, but sounds like he's a really hyped upcoming guy, and I think the UFC was eyeing him, and then PFL just scooped him up, man. So good signing for them.
Yeah, I'm going with McKee Jr. by decision. From what I heard from people who are dissecting this fight based on their greater knowledge and watch time of both men's fights, it seems like Paul Hughes isn't exactly the best grappler of the two of them. Like, he can shoot a takedown when he needs to, when he's going against strikers. But AJ McKee is primarily a grappler, like striker hybrid. He can do both really well. And most people are saying that just when it comes to the scrambles, McKee's are going to be a little bit better than Hughes, and he'll be able to survive on the feet long enough to get him down and beat him up. So nobody really has this by finish. It's just a matter of who's going to, eke out the decision first. And a lot of people are putting the stamp on AJ to get the win, just because,
as they should.
More experienced wrestler out of the two of them.
Sure. I mean, good striker too. Like I said, don't know enough about Paul Hughes. Mr. Toad says, all I know about Paul Hughes is the guru will cry if he loses.
Yes.
What's up, Deadpool? Good to see you. Is Larissa the most famous woman PFL has now that Kayla has gone to the UFC? You could say Cris Cyborg. I mean, a lot of people don't even know who Claressa Shields is, to be fair. If you're watching the PFL and you're seeing Claressa Shields fights, I would argue that you probably don't know who she is necessarily as far as her accomplishments in boxing. I would say as far as in the MMA space, Cris Cyborg is, but I believe this is her first fight for the promotion. So if you're going to if you're talking about the whole umbrella of like PFL Bellator, it's definitely Cris Cyborg. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Isn't her name Larissa Pacheco?
No, he's talking about Claressa Shields. So you don't even know who Claressa Shields is.
No, and I just thought that the most famous name was Pacheco, but she's having her debut here in the PFL.
No, dude, Claressa Shields is a Olympic gold medalist, multiple weight world champion in boxing, and she has had multiple PFL. How do you not know about this?
I don't know. Just went right past me.
I think she's 2-1 in MMA, and all of her fights have been in the PFL.
Interesting. All I know about is that strawweight who just puts other women away. Dudakova. Oh no, Dakota Desheva. Sorry.
See what? No, I mean he's asking like who is the most famous woman in the PFL now that Kayla has gone. I mean, I think it's hands down Cris Cyborg, but again, this is her first fight for the promotion. Claressa Shields is a very interesting woman. Just has a fantastic life story, but yes, she is like. I mean. If not the most accomplished women's boxer, she's top 3 of all time. So it's cool to see her like challenge herself in MMA. But I don't know, man. I mean, she's kind of already done everything she can do in boxing, so it's kind of more like I've done everything I can in boxing, so I'm gonna go over to MMA, and I'm sure they're paying her really good too.
Wasn't Cyborg the Bellator featherweight champion though, and then the PFL swallowed up Bellator, and so now she is technically signed to Bellator. I mean to PFL.
Well, that's what I'm saying. She hasn't had a fight in the promotion yet.
Yes, but she's technically. So we're talking about like fame even beyond just only associated with the PFL, like fame outside PFL coming into the PFL.
You're confusing the shit out of me. I mean, hey, the question is Claressa the most famous woman PFL has now that Kayla has gone to the UFC?
Yes, most likely.
And I would say it's Cris Cyborg, even though this is actually technically her first fight with the promotion. Since PFL has bought Bellator for monopoly money, she has fought for Bellator, just not under the PFL brand and PFL shorts and stuff. And this will be the first time that she actually is. What's your favorite female fighter skill-wise, not looks? Oh, I mean, skill-wise, I mean, entertainment value-wise, you got to pick Jessica Andrade, I think. Maybe JJ back in the day. But, I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, it's got to be Weili.
Yeah, Weili Zhang.
Yeah.
That's an easy one.
All day.
I mean, she's able to reverse back fist Jacek into the shadow.
Nah, don't remind me of that. Let's talk about this fight. Johnny Eblen is going to fight Fabian Edwards for the second time. They've already fought a year ago. You can see here Fabian Edwards losing to Johnny Eblen by knockout. So Fabian Edwards, a guy. Now, I'm actually curious. Is this okay? This is for the Bellator middleweight champion. Why is there a Bellator championship being defended on a PFL card? Can you explain that to me?
It could be that they're just trying to make the biggest matchups they can for the super card. And it just so happens that Eblen is the Bellator champion. So we're going to have that big fight on this PFL show.
Are elbows going to be allowed on this card?
What are you saying?
Are elbows going to be allowed on this card?
Jesus Christ. Dude, can you imagine all the Bellator fighters just being DQ'd on this thing? It's a complete.
That's actually something I'm really curious to know. I'm just gonna go ahead and say yes, but that's beside the point.
Threaten Johnny Eblen about it.
So
beforehand,
Fabian Edwards has always been somebody that Bellator has wanted to become a star or like someone of significance in the promotion. And if you look in his past 5 fights, he is obviously 4-1. Decision, Aaron Jeffrey. Gegard Mousasi decision was impressive at the time. Charlie Ward decision. Then he knocked out Lyoto Machida, who was just old as shit. So he has. I mean, okay, he knocked out Lyoto Machida, old as shit. Whatever. But he just always like falls short of that next level, like where you're going, dude. Fabian Edwards is sick, like he's got skill. He fights a lot like Leon in that he's very patient.
That's not good for him against a wrestler.
Well, sure, but I'm just saying, like actually, now that you bring that up, when he does get taken down, it seems a lot like Leon. He kind of just tends to lay on his back.
Yeah.
So when you look at this fight on a glance, Johnny Eblen's already knocked out Fabian. But since that time, Johnny Eblen has been doing a lot of weird shit out of the cage, famously spending $80,000 on a what was it? Was she an OnlyFans girl? Or like on an OnlyFans girl. He took her to the mall and spent $80K on her.
Too many are getting involved in the sport at this point.
Doing some weird shit, having that really weird fight and it was a fantastic fight against Impa, but just like a fight I felt like he should have lost. He did win by split, but just he had his moments, but it just seems like he's it's like the old Marvin Hagler saying, it's like hard to get up and run at 5 a.m. when you're sleeping in silk sheets, so it seems like Johnny Eblen may not be training as hard. Fabian Edwards.
Ever since he spit on Fabian Edwards, I've always felt just gross about Johnny Eblen. Like, he made a hater out of me.
Ever since he did what?
He spit on Fabian Edwards after he beat him in their first fight.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Basically, caused ruckus between the two.
So I guess that's what makes this fight interesting, right? Is Johnny Eblen on the slide?
Yeah.
But really, that's kind of all you can say in the favor of Fabian, in my opinion. I think Johnny Eblen gets this done. I don't think it's really a question. If he is a little, again, I'm picking all these PFL fights largely by decision. Besides the main event, how can you pick that fight to go to decision? But yeah, I'm gonna pick Eblen. I just think Fabian Edwards is kind of just that guy that they really want to be champ that just kind of never gets to that point.
He's going to be a journeyman for sure. And I'm going with Eblen the same way that you are, the Idaho Skatesman way, by decision. Because again, Edwards' takedown defense is just really spotty, and I didn't see much improvement from him against Aaron Jeffrey. Like, that was a back and forth fight.
Yeah, and Aaron Jeffrey is definitely known for his grappling.
Yeah, and so therefore it was a boring fight for the most part, where he was like leaning against Edwards against the cage, and once in a while he reverses it and hit him with an elbow, but nothing else, and he just outstruck him for the 29-28 decision. Like, that's not the guy who I think is going to beat Johnny Eblen, especially since Eblen has better takedowns than Aaron Jeffries, better grappling overall, especially against Fabian, and he has experience against Fabian and getting him down. Like, that's physique. So he's going to know how to shoot the double and get him down when he needs.
Now, weirdly, I would like to see Fabian win. Like, I would like to see him finally hit that point that they've been trying to get him at,
Yeah, but I just think that Fabian isn't on the level of Impa. And that's sort of crazy because I honestly think that Impa, I don't think he poured on the gas too much against Johnny Eblen. I think he was mostly just staying technical at range, just outstriking him and putting on a
I thought he won that fight.
For most of the fight, yeah. And that's why I think that Impa won as well. It just went Eblen's way for a few takedowns. And you know how these judges get sometimes. I think that Edwards is going to try a similar approach to what Impa did, but he's going to get sloppy at some point. And Eblen's going to
problem with any Edwards, right, Leon or Fabian, is they're just so patient, which is good. I mean, right? Like, you want to see a guy be patient, technical.
Sometimes it's good.
But yeah, sometimes they just wait too much and just don't get enough done in the fight to actually win. So
I think that Eblen's washed enough that he's not going to get a finish, though. I think he's going to get a decision.
So our next fight will be Cris Cyborg versus Larissa Pacheco. Again, Cris Cyborg's first fight on a PFL card, and it's for the PFL Featherweight Super Fight Championship. Wow. What a nothing belt.
I'll totally get defended, by the way.
So Cris Cyborg doesn't really need much introduction, but she did fight a year ago. Kind of interesting. Before that, it was 2. And really what happened in Bellator was she kind of just like ran out of people to fight. So they just like threw anybody on a win streak in there against her and was like, this is her toughest test yet. And then she just blew him out of there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Cat Zingano was definitely a fun matchup, but ended how we thought it would. So that's the problem with Cris heading into this fight is I don't believe she's really been fighting like top women. But again, it's featherweight. Who really can you fight that's like a top woman?
Not many.
Even in the UFC, the featherweight's barely a division. Let's be honest.
Well, it's
going up against the last woman to defeat Kayla Harrison, Larissa Pacheco. That was not her last fight, though. After beating Kayla Harrison, she beat Julia Budd, this chick, another chick, and some other chick. So Larissa Pacheco is actually the slight favorite in this fight, and Cris is a slight underdog. It's an interesting fight to me, man. This is a fight I really want to see.
They booked it well then.
And Cool Breeze mentions that Cris Cyborg boxed on the Crawford Avanesian undercard. That's right. She has had a couple boxing matches, but I don't know, man. I mean, I think that this is a fight that Cris Cyborg's taking seriously. She knows she's not up against the total can that she's just going to cruise through. Right. I hope. I don't know, man. I mean, what do you think about this fight?
If you want, you can take a look at my pick first.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, I got Cris Cyborg by round 2 KO. Just because I think Cyborg's really good at having like just keeping herself close with her punches so that when she lands, it has just way more impact. Whereas I feel like Pacheco's more like Amanda Lemos, where she has to get that opponent against the cage, backed up, nowhere to go, and now I just swing a bunch and then I find the KO. Like she has to really like box her opponents in. Whereas I think Cris Cyborg can get a finish from anywhere. I've seen her do it in the middle of the cage. I didn't have her done it against the side. I've seen her take her opponent down.
But again,
that way
you could argue that it was against like chicks she knew she was gonna just. I mean,
that's true, but
I can really remember clearly the Sinead Kavanaugh fight. Sinead Kavanaugh, Cris Cyborg just literally was like, I'm not even going to defend anything that this fucking lady throws. And she just threw punches back and forth, hook. And during one of those hooks, Kavanaugh actually caught her with a really good punch. But it was at that time that Cris was in the middle of a flurry and it knocked out Sinead Kavanaugh. And she was buzzed at the time of the stoppage. And she knocked Sinead Kavanaugh out cold. But so I think that she's been very sloppy in her Bellator run, though she has been getting finishes.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong.
Then meanwhile, you have Larissa Pacheco having that fight against Marina Mukta Oh, Jesus.
I mean, who cares? Who even knows who that is?
Muknatkina, where basically she was really trying to get her shots off and she just couldn't get him. Like, she got a few combos here and there, but not one where it's like, oh, man, she's got her hurt. Like, there was not one moment she was hurt. And then she was taken down for a lot of that fight and then got into a bunch of submission holds with her as well. So, like, she got really close to losing during certain points in that. I feel like Cyborg's just tough enough that Pacheco's never really going to find that spot where she's got her up against the cage. I honestly think that Cyborg's a little too aggressive.
This is right.
A good spot to throw.
Okay. I just feel like the first half of the fight favors Cris Cyborg by knockout. And then I truly believe that Larissa Pacheco has like a better gas tank. I think that one knock on Cris Cyborg is you can say that like she goes so hard in those first couple rounds that her gas tank is not there. So I think the end of the fight definitely would favor Larissa. If you're going to go Larissa by stoppage, pick it in the 4th or 5th round, or maybe by decision.
5 rounds, that's not going to might not make it that long.
Right. So if you're going to go Cris, probably have to go within the first 3. With that being said, though, I'm going safe. I'm picking Cyborg by decision. Would love to see Cris Cyborg get a knockout, and then I think she has like one more fight after this on PFL. She's going to leave and go do something else. So. The main event of the evening, though, everyone's talking about this one. Francis Ngannou is going up against the Problema, Renan Ferreira. Shit, man. I mean, we all know Francis. We all know what's happened to him over the last, few years. Leaving. I mean, dude, this story of this man is just incredible. I have a huge knock on Francis, though. Saying you feel like you're being what was the word? God, help me out here. He said that he felt like he was oppressed by the UFC, right?
Yeah.
So he says he's oppressed. He feels like he was treated like he was back in Cameroon. And then you go take money from the Saudis. Just proves that all you care about is money, bro.
The symbol of oppression right there.
Exactly. So that's the only knock I have on Francis. But that being said, he goes to Saudi Arabia. He fights Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, the lineal heavyweight champion of the world in boxing. And he puts on a hell of a performance, dropping Tyson Fury, getting largely outboxed. A lot of people said he should have won that fight. I don't agree with that at all. He got outboxed for most of the fight.
Yeah.
But he did win
on Fury scorecards for the most part.
He did win the moment of the fight, right?
Yeah, so that people are like, dude, you embarrassed boxing because you knocked down Fury once. And he did knock down the heavyweight champion of the world, and that's what people are going to remember. So it was a symbolic W for Francis.
100%. But then he fought AJ, and people were like, dude, he's going to win. And I was like,
nah,
he's going to get knocked out. I knew he was going to get knocked out. I don't know why, I just knew. But I was not expecting it to be that vicious. It was one of the most vicious KOs I've ever seen in a boxing match. And he got fucking straight up folded.
Yeah. One thing that I remember people saying, and I agree with it, is that, dude, AJ did Ngannou like Ngannou did Stipe.
He literally did with the knee and the folding over.
Yeah,
100%.
Did him the exact same way. Karma.
He got slept so viciously against AJ, and it was just a weird moment to see. Like, I imagine people might have felt that way after Mike Tyson got knocked out against Buster Douglas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it was just so weird to see this like superhuman figure just get slept. So after that, his son died. Tragic moment. Super, super tragic for Francis. And now he's back fighting in MMA after that long hiatus, that departure from the UFC. This return to MMA has been hyped up for a long time from the PFL.
Honestly.
And though, I mean, we can talk about the fight itself, I think that just the lead up and the aftermath is going to be more interesting because, number one, I truly think that this is a no-win situation for Francis, specifically for Francis. Yes, because if he goes in there and he knocks out Renan Ferreira in 30 seconds,
great, you knocked out PFL.
Right there, you go. He's a bum. Look at him. Dana White's gonna go, oh yeah, I told you he wants to fight easy guys for less money. You know what I'm saying?
And we offered him more money than boxing. What were we thinking?
Right. And so if he goes if he knocks out Renan Ferreira at all, and he has opposition, like where he gets hurt or Renan Ferreira puts up a fight, he's gonna get like no credit, right? If he goes to decision some fucking how against Renan Ferreira, same thing. Oh, look, Francis is not the same guy. Fucking, he's a bum. He sucks. He's washed now. Fuck him. And then if Renan Ferreira knocks out Francis Ngannou, same thing. Francis sucked. Was he ever really that good? You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll just get all this weird shit. But I'm telling you guys,
his legacy, some video like Francis Ngannou was never
right. Would it surprise you if Francis Ngannou got knocked out by Renan Ferreira?
It wouldn't surprise me at all. I think this is whoever beats the other to the punch wins.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. I would feel bad. I mean, even though I just said, hey, I have one gripe with Francis, that's really my one gripe with the guy. Right. You know what I'm saying? Is that you felt like you were oppressed in the UFC, and then you go to an oppressive country to take money from blood money. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if Renan Ferreira knocked him out. I mean, and seriously, like it would be like, I'd be like, oh shit. I mean, it would be surprising if it happens in a vicious fashion, but it really wouldn't surprise me. He's 38 now. He's not getting any younger. Renan Ferreira's, let me actually look at the tail of the tape. So Renan Ferreira's 34, 6'8", and a 85-inch reach. Francis is 6'4" with an 83-inch reach. So Renan Ferreira is a bigger dude. Both have 3 losses. Renan Ferreira, though, not on a pretty significant knockout streak. I wouldn't say against anybody of note. I mean, you could say Ryan Bader, but
yeah,
Ryan Bader.
That's a knock against him.
The guys that Renan Ferreira lost to, though, I think 2 of them have popped for PEDs. So kind of interesting there. That being said, I'm gonna pick Francis Ngannou to get a knockout, but again, wouldn't surprise me if Renan Ferreira just chins him. The guy's been chinned before. Didn't take a hellacious beating in any fight that he's ever been in besides the first Stipe fight. And even then, it wasn't like... Francis kind of beat himself in that fight, I would say. Just in the fact that he was totally unconditioned, and Stipe did beat the hell out of him, to be fair. But I mean, sorry for the really long ramble, but I just think it's
fine.
Important.
It's our main event. You got to talk.
Right, but I think it's just important to put this into context. It's like, because I saw a lot of people after AJ knocked out Francis saying Francis is a bum. It's like, the fuck you talking about? This guy's out of his element. You know what I'm saying? That's like me as a skateboarder going to a BMX contest. You know what I'm saying? Like, and actually like performing at the highest level and losing. You know, it's like,
also it's miraculous he had any success and knocked down Tyson freaking Fury in the first place. He doesn't have to prove anything after that.
I agree. Well, yeah, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I got the same pick as you. I got Ngannou by round 1 KO, maybe for different reasons, as I think that Ngannou, if he's smart, and this pick is mostly dependent on whether he's smart or not, if he gets a takedown on Renan Ferreira at some point in the fight, I could see him like chinning Ferreira on his way back up, you know, like getting the timing perfect so that he's sort of tired a little bit, and then Ngannou just rush, a big punch, just puts him out of nowhere. Sort of like Dan Henderson when he's like got a guy scrambling, and then, oh my God, he just knocked him out from a weird position on the ground, like he did with Fedor. But I just think that he's got more tools in the toolkit. And also, if you're able to have good enough timing that you can knock down Tyson Fury early into the fight, I feel like Francis just gets luckier with his strikes, if that makes sense. Then,
well, I hate to cut you off, but when you watch the Stipe fight, the Stipe versus second fight, Francis had incredible timing in that fight.
Yeah, great timing in MMA.
I'll say that in that Tyson Fury boxing match, I thought he looked a lot more stiff and just a little slower. Now, again, it's boxing. He probably didn't have to cut weight for that fight either. So I'm guessing he will here. But yeah.
I also want to mention that I think Francis might be one of the more athletic guys that Renan Ferreira has dealt with. Like, who you beat Ryan Bader, who's washed. I mean, not washed, but he's getting up there in age.
He's washed. Let's just say it.
Both. And then
also Ryan Bader's family was on camera.
Oh, God.
Oh, no, it was like one of those weird, like, PFL has this like camera that they put up that's like us in the corner of the screen. And Ryan Bader's family was on camera when he got knocked out. It was so tragic.
Yeah, dude, at least Contender Series has the dignity of showing them before the fight happens.
And after their guy wins.
Show them again. Oh, God, it's so horrible. Hey, bring the kid in there to watch as well. I'm sure.
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah, he knocked out Bader. Great. He knocked out Maurice Green. Who's he? He knocked out Goltsov, who's a big fat fucking tub who gets people down and lays on him. Now he's dealing with Francis Ngannou, who has a muscle at every fucking part of his body, including the ones about, no Jones, but no Diddy. But also, I feel like Ngannou is there's just so many exchanges where I think Ngannou is just going to hit him with something fucking crazy out of nowhere. Whereas like Renan Ferreira's more like stiff, more like just like built into his frame. And so he really has to like come in with something in order to knock you out. Whereas Ngannou can just literally have his arms out like this and touch it, and
you make me think about the Jairzinho Rosenstruik fight during the pandemic.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying.
Oh my God! Like, is Francis gonna come and be technical and he just fucking rushed Jairzinho with the punches like this, and just two of them caught him. One of them put him out, and the other one just murdered him. And
yeah, that's how it's going.
Right.
That's what's happening. So I got Ngannou by random ass autistic knockout with the takedown, maybe. Plug. You probably talked about it already, but you got AJ or Paul Hughes. We both have McKee by decision.
Cool Breeze says there's nowhere he could fight where it wouldn't be blood money. That's a good point, but I mean, the Saudis literally killed a journalist in a Turkish embassy.
So Blood and Oil, Texas tea.
No Chill Raid. What's up, No Chill?
Yo.
Deadpool raid incoming. You're welcome.
It was specifically Deadpool. I mean, he's one member of his chat, but still, that's
No Chill Raid. What's up, Slimmer Elk?
We got some people in here now.
What's up, Hey Girl? D Harv. What's up? And 316 Immortal. We've seen you in here before.
It's always nice to see 316. What? And that's the bottom line because the Immortal.
A decent main card, but
I mean, they have their super fights from PFL and Bellator. I got to give them credit.
There are some decent fights
in there. Yeah. Don't know how the execution is going to be, but, on paper, Anthony Smith style, it's all right.
Like I said, we don't know if elbows are allowed on this card. I'm guessing they will be.
I hope so.
It's not a tournament.
That will improve the quality of this card tenfold.
But yeah, not a bad card, if I do say so myself. I just wonder about the pacing.
It's usually pretty mid for PFL.
It's horrible. I mean, yeah, it's horrible.
Can you think of a promotion that has worse timing in between?
Any boxing promotion?
Yes, yeah, especially when you got Oasis as the musical performance before the main event. Makes me want to rip my eyes and ears out.
Terrible.
But what is up, No Chill Crew? How's it going?
Good to see y'all.
What time is the main event, brother? Oh, of Renan Ferreira and Francis Ngannou. So it starts at 10:30. And how long do those PFL shows go? I think it's 10 fights. So probably around maybe like 2 o'clock.
6 hours.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Probably around 1 or 2. Hank, thoughts on boning? Woo! Raw dog Roy Valstyle style. Well, he did say during an interview with Elon that, you know what? I think that Kamala looks a lot like my wife, Melania. I think she's as beautiful as her, folks. I'm gonna begin that whole like she's a coconut. Let me tell you. And I don't know. Maybe as
Deadpool says Oasis is great
when they're back together, but not yet.
Maybe 1 or 2 EST
should be. I think so because I went through a whole freaking boxing card.
I think it's at 1 Eastern time is when the card starts. So
yes,
look for like 5 p.m.
Okay, so wow, that long an intermission. Jesus Christ.
Wait. No, the card starts at 1:30. So
Eastern
I think
time.
around 5 p.m. Eastern time.
Well, it depends on what this guy's time zone is.
He says EST,
why would you ask us what time it is when we? Oh, Eastern time. Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
That starts at 1 Eastern. Yes, so I was talking about PST. So yes, 5 o'clock actually makes more sense.
Thoughts? UFC 308 was this weekend? Was it?
Wasn't this weekend? It's Pereira versus Hernandez. I think that's the next week. Pretty sure. It's going to be stacked because Turkey Al Sheikh is still holding the hands with Dana White, so he's going to give his sugar daddy what he wants.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's going to be a sick card. That one's in Saudi Arabia. Anyway, we're here to talk about this card. It is, what the fuck is it? Is it an Apex card?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Jeez, that's a crime. Because this is actually
such a fun card too. Yeah, they're lucky they have to start the damn thing.
So the first fight. What does anyone that cares about the new Linkin Park stuff think? Well, my thoughts on anything Linkin Park related is, in the end, it doesn't really matter.
No, especially since they're one of their lead singers jumped the. So
right. Anyway,
hasn't been great since. Yep.
I think the realization that this is in fact not is a good justification for my assault of a minority. Yeah.
Wow, this is like the rapper that snitched on himself.
Okay, well, Robelis Despaigne is going to be taking on Austen Lane. So, Robelis Despaigne, this would be a heavyweight. He is 5-1, losing to Waldo Cortez Acosta of all people. He's 36, 6'7". Austen Lane is 2-1 in his last 5. 36, and he is 6'6". His last 2 losses were to Jonata Deniz and Justin Tafa. Are you kidding me? Then he got eye poked by Justin Tafa before then. Before that, he beat a man named Richard Jacoby, not Jacoby. On the Contender Series, Robelis Despaigne knocking out everybody quickly on his way to knocking out Josh Parisian in his UFC debut, and then he obviously got wrestle-fucked by Waldo Cortez Acosta. So, interesting fight. We did see Austen Lane in his last loss to Jonata Deniz get taken down. He took down Jonata Deniz in the first round. I was going, yes, my pick's gonna hit, and then Jonata Deniz KO'd him because he has really terrible fight IQ.
And then I fucking bumped my fist in fucking victory because I had him.
Can he hold down Robelis Despaigne for 3 rounds? You would say no because he kind of sucks, but then again, Robelis Despaigne kind of sucks too. I think in a battle of who's gonna boop each other first, you gotta pick Robelis Despaigne. He's gonna knock this guy out cold. You don't know. I mean, I think remind me, did Robelis gas by the 3rd round in the Waldo Cortez Acosta fight?
I think he gasped by the end of the 1st round, to be honest, because he's already looking labored and throwing out tiny kicks and trying to put together a combination.
The thing is, he's 36.
Once in a while, he exploded. He exploded once in a while.
The one thing is that he's 36, and I don't know if he's learning new skills. Austen Lane, again, is probably where he's going to be for the rest of his career. But I think even with that being said, it's enough to beat Robelis Despaigne. Just the fight IQ is lacking, in my opinion. I'll pick Robelis Despaigne for the last time if he loses here by KO 1. But again, that's exactly what I did last time against Waldo Cortez Acosta.
I feel bad for it, but I'm gonna do it too.
It's risky, but what about you?
Yeah, I got Despaigne by round 1 KO. I just think if Lane can get a 10-8 on Jonata Deniz, still not finish him, and then Deniz find a way to come back and finish him, I think Despaigne's gonna survive on the ground against him in the 1st round, even if he does take him down. And then 2nd round, he just throws together a crazy ass karate combination and puts him out. If he can get KO'd by Justin Tafa, and he's gotten takedowns on Tafa before and still found a way to not win those fights. It just seems like Austen Lane's a cursed fighter in the UFC. And I think part of it's due to him just being a former football player and having sloppy ass takedowns and not having that much experience on the feet in MMA. I am going with Despaigne. Maybe he stuffs a takedown and we're like, ooh, he actually learned something from his previous fight and the team taught him a thing or two. But I think it's more likely that he's going to find some crazy ass left hand that puts Lane down before he shoots the takedown. And even though there's the threat of Austen Lane just doing the same thing he did to Deniz, I don't see a lot of fights repeating themselves. Usually it's like, okay, he did this fight and then he did it 2 fights later. Whereas I just don't think it's as likely that he's going to shoot the takedown immediately in this fight. I don't think he has a good enough fight IQ to do that.
Also, something you can't say about Waldo Cortez Acosta is that he's been chinned. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like viciously. And Austen Lane
boy stays in there. He stays in there. He's technical enough so he doesn't have to. Whereas
Kari Abu El Kir says, "What's going on? Looking forward to PFL a little more than the UFC this weekend."
We can give you.
Francis Ngannou's fighting.
I can give you a quick recap of our picks for the card that we did. We have Ngannou by first round KO. We have Cyborg. I believe I have her by KO. Skatesman has her by decision.
I got pretty much everybody by decision besides Francis.
We both have Johnny Eblen over Fabian Edwards again. And then we have AJ McKee winning over Paul Hughes. And then
I got Raufeon Stots
on the prelim card.
Gary says he got Austen in this fight.
That's actually a pretty smart pick. That's the one that logically you should go for, but 91%.
And we did make the case for Austen Lane. Yeah. Fighting is a tough job. Indeed it is. So the next fight will be a fight that I've seen both of these girls fight. Couldn't tell you anything about him. It said strawweight. Elise Ardelean is 9-6, and she lost her last fight to Shauna Bannon, of all people, by split decision. She's from Romania, but fighting out of Birmingham. She's 32 at strawweight. And then Melissa Martinez, 7-1, fighting out of Mexico. She's 27, 5'2". She lost to Elise Reed. Not a terrible loss, but this was 2 years ago. Very interesting that she's taken so much time off.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know anything about either of these fighters. I'm gonna go with the younger girl by decision. Yeah. That's my whole analysis on the fight.
I'm actually going with Ardelean by decision because I actually think she impressed me against Shauna Bannon. For someone who was like,
who the fuck is Shauna Bannon?
Yeah, but she fought her on a week's notice.
I'm being totally serious. Like I don't know who that is.
I believe she's like an Irish chick that they want. No, maybe it was either English or Irish because they were at the UK card, I believe. And they wanted to get her over by giving her the scrub. Let me make sure that I'm right.
Okay, hold on. I'm recalling. It was the Patty and Meatball was on the. It was when Patty
Williams card
beat Bobby Green.
Yes, it was that card, and where you wish that he got hit by a Harry Potter double-decker bus. That memorable one. But Shauna Bannon, she is from Ireland. She's Mama B.
Hank's never gonna let that one go.
I made that pun. Yeah, and she just sort of stinks, and so that's why everybody was doubting on Ardelean, including me. But I think she had better grappling than Shauna Bannon overall, and held her own on short notice and made it a really close fight. It went to a split decision. So I actually think that was a pretty good debut for Ardelean. Whereas Melissa Martinez has been gone for 1 or 2 years?
2 years.
I know that she's the younger fighter, but still, that's a lot of time to be away from the sport. Could easily get some ring rust coming in. And from what I've seen,
Dominic Cruz
fights, she's had fights where she's been out grappled before. She's mostly a striker, and she wings out like crazy ass shots. But I could easily see Ardelean catching her during one of those flurries with a big takedown, Mandon Juliana Pena style, and just holding her down for 2 out of the 3 rounds. I was impressed by her first fight. I think she's going to have a good learning experience from that, and then be in better UFC shape for this fight. And I think she's going to surprise a lot of people. So.
Denial says he's seen these 2 ladies acting in movies. Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that they had
yes. She did have an OnlyFans, Ardelean.
So okay. Oh my God, that's right. Okay, now it's coming back to me. All right, no, who cares about that fight? And who cares about this fight? Really, I mean, to be fair.
And the next
Pene, 41, fighting Elise Reed, 31, 10 years.
Denial, by the way,
the younger. Jessica Pene is 14-7. What a fantastic record!
Great. Record.
5'5". And then on the other side is Elise Reed. 7-4. I mean, both these ladies are at bottom of the barrel strawweights.
Yeah.
You lose to Emily Ducati. I mean, come on. Lost to Tabitha Ricci by armbar. Don't think that's the worst loss to have. And then losing to Lupita Godinez by sub. Not a good loss. Again, going with the younger fighter, Elise Reed. I think both these women are pretty much on their way out of the UFC. I think that Jessica Pene's only strong suit is that she is pretty tough. Elise Reed seems to be a little bit less tough. But again, you got the battle of who is less washed in the strawweight division of the UFC.
Yeah, and Pene outwashes her by literally 10 years. They're a decade apart from each other. And Pene, her loss to Emily Ducote by decision convinces me that she can lose to Elise Reed. Like, I know that she got easily out-scrambled and armbarred really quick by Tabitha Ritchie, but it's like whether or not she can lose a decision to a mid fighter, and she was able to. So I just think Elise Reed is that kind of mid-level fighter. She has that win-loss record where she, immediately rejuvenates herself after her L. She beat Jin Yu Frey. I think at this point, she's on the same level that Jessica Pene is. And she lost to Lupita Godinez, but hey, like, she was on her hot streak. She was getting fight after fight. She was in the zone. So I can understand her losing to Lupita really easily. And Luke Bonemay, I think, is really good as well. So
yeah.
Wow. Very interesting.
That is an aggressive comment.
Only the OnlyFans girl on BKFC. Those are the only.
Juliana Pena beat the shit out of O.
Okay. Is there a women's bantamweight named O?
Yeah, I believe Solano. Out of my cousin's ex-fiance.
Wow.
All right, hey, D Harv, are you from Spokane, Washington?
There you go. Juliana Pena for once.
Next fight, another women's fight. This time in the illustrious bantamweight division of the UFC. Guys, have you heard about this women's bantamweight division? I mean, it is so fantastic. Jocelyn Edwards is going to be taking on Tamiris Vidal. Both women are on 2-fight losing streaks. Jocelyn's 29, Tamiris 26. I think both are largely strikers, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Edwards is a grappler.
Okay, Edwards is a grappler. I think I've seen her. Okay, I'm thinking of
off with Eileen Perez.
Thinking of Josiane Nunes. Sorry. So Edwards lost the decision, but to Eileen Perez only 4 months ago. And Nora Cornol. Before that, she beat Lucy Poodle. I mean, I don't even know who these women are. I know who Ramona Pascal is for some reason. Tamiris Vidal got KO'd by Melissa Gatto. Who gets KO'd by Melissa Gatto?
Nobody does.
Losing a split decision to a woman named Montserrat. Beating Ramona Pascal, and also got disqualified, or she won because Eileen Perez got disqualified.
She probably
Samurai Fight House, the best promotion in the world.
She definitely twerked afterwards.
Jocelyn Edwards is a lot bigger. I mean, throw a dart at the wall, split decision goes to Jocelyn Edwards, but I really don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with the size of Jocelyn Edwards and just the fact that I think that though neither of these women have fought like high level women's bantamweight is a stretch. I mean, really, let's be honest. But I've seen more of Jocelyn Edwards. I think even though when she loses, I think she still like looks all right.
I agree with that sentiment.
That's pretty much my analysis on the fight.
Yeah, I'm going with Edwards by decision as well. Just because she's been able to deal with power punchers before and get him down and out grapple him, and I think Vidal just fits right in.
Again, power puncher, bantamweight, women's bantamweight.
Well, they have no power until they do. Okay, Skatesman.
I'm sorry. Jeez, don't yell at me.
Yeah, they go to decisions for 4 fights, and then, oh my God, all of a sudden, a knee to the body. That's it. She's done. Like Vidal had against Ramona Pascual, who Skatesman has very fond memories of. Very, very memorable fighter for him. And
I don't know why I remember her.
Yeah, but I do think that Jocelyn Edwards is a wrestler because she had a whole 15 minutes to try to outstrike Eileen Perez on the feet, and instead they just both tried to out-grapple each other. And what was a really fun fight, if I recall. Like, they were just both, oh my God, she gets her down. No, she rolls around, or they get back up. Oh, she slams her down. Like, she tries her best to out-wrestle her opponents. And I just think that Vidal has a tough time against grapplers, and she's one of those fighters that's easily going to get the leg scooped up and taken down and beaten up, but not finished, because Edwards doesn't like to do that, which is so much fun at women's bantamweight. I just think she's going to get Vidal down early. She's going to gas her out, since she likes to really like have an output of energy, and that's the kind of fighter that's going to gas the quickest. So give me Jocelyn Edwards by dominant decision.
The next fight will be
finally. Oh, thank God the women's are over. The women's fights are over.
Next fight will be Brad Katona versus Gian Matsumoto. Gosh, I'm starting to hate this card now. Dude, tell me about Gian Matsumoto. Just glancing over his record, a grappler?
Yeah, you could say that. He mostly gets his wins by submission, but he's actually pretty quick and technical on the feet as well. I think he's a complete package.
So this is a bantamweight contest. Brad Katona, 32. Says he's fighting out of Dublin, Ireland, but he's Canadian. Not a good look, my friend. He's 5'6". Gian Matsumoto, 25. He's 5'6" as well. He is 15-0, undefeated. Brad Katona, 14-3. Brad Katona, like, put on a good fight. Just maybe, like, won't ever really do a lot that you're just like, oh, dude, Brad Katona's sick. You know, he did win tough for some reason. Looking at Gian Matsumoto being undefeated and also 26 versus a 32-year-old at bantamweight. Ooh, you probably want to pick Gian Matsumoto. One thing that I do know about Brad Katona, though, is he's very scrappy. He always put on
when he wants to be.
He'll put on a decent fight. Yeah, I don't know enough about Gian Matsumoto. I'll probably pick him by decision, just the fact that he's the younger dude. But it wouldn't surprise me. I think this fight goes to decision. If it does go in Brad Katona's favor, I see him winning a decision somehow, maybe a splitty. But yeah, give me Gian Matsumoto. Give me him by decision. I think that he'll be able to just control Brad Katona and just keep the fight where he wants it to. But again, sometimes Brad Katona shows up and he puts on a fun fight. So maybe we'll see that version of him.
I hope so. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think this is mostly going to be a wrestle fest between two guys because if you recall, Katona just took down Jesse Butler over and over and over again in that fight. I think I actually rage texted Idaho Skatesman after that fight because like it was very painful to watch. But I just feel like Brad Katona is really low level at this point in his career. He lost by decision to Garrett Armfield, who has put up a good fight every now and again, but he has his ceiling, obviously. So I don't think he's past Cody Gibson or Garrett Armfield's ceiling because like Cody Gibson, I think he's pretty low level too, and he gave Katona the fight of his life in that tough finale.
Well, Cody Gibson is low level, but another guy that'll just scrap, and maybe that's the fight I'm thinking of in my head. Like,
you'd hope.
Cody Gibson probably made that fight. Was the big reason why that fight was fun, not Brad Katona.
I think Brad Katona is way too like technical. I'm scared to throw. I gotta shoot a takedown. But when he has the right opponent, he can get a scrap out of him. What's making me pick Matsumoto here, and honestly, I could go with Matsumoto by submission as well, is that Dan Argueta, who recently fought Cody Haddon, tried to take Gian Matsumoto down a bunch of times, and then Matsumoto was able to find that guillotine just out of nowhere. And if he is going to finish a fight, he's going to find a way to sink a submission choke of some kind onto his opponent, no matter whether they're a striker or a wrestler. So I just think that Matsumoto can get this fight done however he wants to. If Katona tries to shoot the takedown, I think Matsumoto
spinning back wheel kick.
I think he has good enough. Well, not that in particular. He doesn't always have the knockouts. Okay, he doesn't have the power. He got the money. You got the power. You got the power. You got the woman. You understand? But I think that he could easily just catch Katona with some random ass choke, whether it's like a Darce or a guillotine. But I think a lot of it's going to be just him outpacing and out grappling Katona. And then I just really underrate Katona's grappling. I think even Matsumoto could find a way to outstrike him, even if it doesn't involve the grappling. So I think Matsumoto is really solid, well-rounded. I don't think Brad Katona is. He either relies on one technique or the other, whereas Matsumoto can basically do whatever he wants.
Next fight will be.
I
mean, yeah, they're just chatting about nothing. But
what the fuck is hard?
Now did say Samurai Head. That's cool. So the next fight will be Mateus Nicolau versus Asu Almabayev at 125. I love this fight. It's a fantastic fight. I love me some flyweight fights. I love me some high level flyweights. So Mateus Nicolau is 19-4 on a 2 fight losing streak to Alex Perez, where he got knocked out. That was crazy. Remember that? Like it was just yesterday. He got knocked out with a nice knee by Brandon Royval. Before that, he knocked out Schnell. And at the time, when he knocked out Schnell, we were like, dude, Mateus Nicolau, he's found that spot where he's getting knockouts now, you know, because before that, he had a lot of decisions. Looked good, but just had a lot of decisions. And we're like, dude. And then we found out that Matt Schnell is just chinny. Asu Almabayev, he's 31. He's 5'6". Fighting out of Novo União, a legendary gym. On the other side, Asu Almabayev, 20-2, beating Jose Johnson, CJ Vergara, Ode Osborne. He subbed, and then he had some fights in Brave. Who cares? He's from Kazakhstan. Lorisenko. When this guy walks in the room, Lorisenko just she's squirting like a fountain. He's
Maybe
30,
that.
5'4". Interesting fight. I think on the feet, Mateus Nicolau, more technical, better striker. Obviously, when it comes to the ground game, Asu Amabayev is prone to just out grapple you, lay and pray. I'll pick Asu by decision. I do think there's a case to be made that Mateus Nicolau could shine and potentially get it done. Just hard to pick him coming off of 2 knockout losses. I don't think that Asu Amabayev is gonna put the pace on him that Royval would, or have the power that Alex Perez does. So in that case, you could see Nicolau getting it done. And also, I think this would be the highest level guy that Asu Amabayev has fought in the flyweight division. Obviously, this is a pretty big jump up the rankings. I don't know if it actually has their rankings listed. I do know that both of these men are ranked in the flyweight division. I think that Asu Amabayev is on the way up and Mateus Nicolau is on the way down. So give me Asu Amabayev. Give me him by decision.
Yeah, the worst kind of fight that Skatesman likes. He despises the up and down fight. But I'm going with Mateus Nicolau by decision. I just think that Asu Amabayev doesn't have, like Skatesman mentioned, the kind of power that Alex Perez has, or the great timing in his striking that Brandon Royval has. I've seen footage of this guy doing punching bags, and he's got just tiny little arms, tiny little punches. I don't think Nicolau's chin may be bad after these last 2 fights, but it's not a bad enough a chin that Asu Amabayev is going to knock him out. And he doesn't have the kind of striking technique that he's going to find the chin of Mateus Nicolau. And so I think a lot of this fight is going to be decided on the ground. And I think that based on Nicolau's fights with David Dvorak and Matt Schnell, he's got solid enough takedown defense. He was on, I believe, and I mentioned this in the last Nicolau fight, he was on an 11-fight win streak, I think, before the UFC and in the UFC. And a lot of that involved stuff and takedowns and having the better wrestling defense in general wrestling than the other guy. So he's way more experienced when it comes to the grappling exchanges. That's what it's going to come down to. And I think Nicolau's experienced enough that he's going to out-grapple Asu Amabayev, even though that's shocking. And he's obviously, from Eurasia. So therefore he's got to be the better grappler. He hasn't faced the level of competition that Mateus Nicolau has yet. And if I recall, there were moments where even Jose frickin' Johnson was giving him problems in their fight. He's that tall ass bantamweight who basically reduces himself to nothing to make weight at flyweight.
Well, that's right. He was wasn't he? He's 6 foot tall, right?
Yeah, he is. And he was out muscling Almabayev in moments, which is understandable. He's a giant fucking weight bully freak. But also, he had a fight that went to a decision with CJ Vergara. Come on, man. I don't know about that.
I mean, even though CJ Vergara just got tuned up and knocked out by old what's his name? Bantamweight. I think that CJ Vergara is a decent litmus test for a flyweight. Was he fighting at flyweight at that point or bantamweight? Wait a second. That's interesting. But yeah, whatever.
He faced O'Day Osborne, who's definitely a flyweight before he faced CJ. So he was probably a flyweight during that time. And so, yeah, I think Nicolau's super tall as well. So he might actually have a similar kind of difference.
He's 2 inches taller than
in height to Jose Johnson.
He's 5'6".
I think the fact that he's the longer opponent is going to make it easier for him to stuff the takedowns of Almabayev and outstrike him on the feet, just outpoint him. So I think it's
hopefully he gets a cool knockout and we get to see him do the slash and put the sword away. Yeah, I mean, but I'm not counting out Mateus Nicolau, but I just think Asu Amabayev.
I got Nicolau
on the way up, Nicolau on the way down.
He's won a bunch of split decisions. Beauty pie.
The next fight will be Darren the Damage Elkins versus Daniel Pineda. Both men washed. Both men 40 basically. Darren Elkins 28-11. Jeez. 5'10". Daniel Pineda 28-16. Jeez, these are terrible records. Journeyman. But nonetheless, they're going to produce a fun fight. Darren Elkins. I used to say that he would Darren Elkins a guy to KO, right? Where he just grinds you out to nothing and then you're done. Which is interesting because I think that Daniel Pineda
It's called the damage.
He looked really good against Nathaniel Wood in his last fight, man.
He did.
And Nathaniel Wood's always that guy that just has an unimpressive performance, where he wins even. But Darren Elkins, he is 3-2 in his last 5, beating TJ Brown 11 months ago. Don't know who that is. Losing to Jonathan Pierce. Tristan Connolly beat 2.5 years ago. Hilarious. Cub Swanson got knocked out by, and Derek Minner he KO'd. Nathaniel Wood is Daniel Pineda's last opponent 2 months ago. Jeez, what? Am I missing something here? Did Darren Elkins have a different opponent? Daniel Pineda stepped in on short notice. Decision, Alex Caceres, Tucker Lutz.
Yeah, they had a more competitive fight for Wood, and then Pineda showed up.
No, I'm talking about 2 months ago was his last fight. So why is he fighting Darren Elkins on 2 months? Anyway, whatever.
He didn't take much damage. It's Nathaniel Wood, so it's not going to do any damage.
Guys, I want Darren Elkins to win. I really do. I just don't think he's gonna. I think he's washed and he sucks. But even though he got a win in his last fight against TJ Brown, Daniel Pineda not much better. I just think that he's fought better dudes recently and like been in competitive fights with them. So yeah, give me Daniel Pineda by decision. Maybe he might even finish Elkins, but yeah.
And I'm going to take a bit of a risk here, and I'm going with Darren the Damage Elkins by round 3 submission, just because I think that Elkins, even at his age right now, he's a hard guy to put away sometimes. Like, he has a solid chin, he's got endurance, he's grinded out opponents, as Skatesman said before. And Daniel Pineda, he was having a tough time with Nathaniel Wood when he got taken down, but with Nathaniel Wood, he likes to get into advantageous positions, but he really doesn't take advantage when he gets on top or he takes a guy's back. Like, you're not going to see him locking in a lot of successful submissions. Whereas I feel like Darren Elkins, once he finds a way to get on the back, it's like he can get in the rear naked choke.
He'll Elkins you.
He will out damage you for sure, or get a TKO on the back. I feel like it's going to be a lot of Pineda just barely outstriking Darren Elkins. Oh, he's giving him troubles. But I don't think Pineda's a guy to knock out Darren Elkins. I think it's going to last long enough to the point where Pineda is starting to get annoyed with the amount of takedowns that Elkins is getting. And eventually he just starts to slow down and Elkins gets the back and gets a rear naked choke round 3. Yeah, I just think that he's just too tough for his own good. And usually that works out for a lot of these old vets. So give me Elkins by round 3 sub. This might blow up in my face, could easily blow up in my face. But
well, look, I mean, win, loss, right? So he's coming off a win. So math.
Yeah. That is true. I screwed up. Math was never my strong suit in high school.
Me neither. They were like, dude, X is a number. And I was like,
dude, it's a variable. What are you talking about? Verna Jandaroba raid. No, go away. I don't want your raid. Go away.
So the next fight is Jake Hadley versus Cameron Smotherman. Who is Cameron Smotherman, Hank Tank?
He was on the regional scene. I believe he was on No Chill's American Prospects list. So, hey, that's something. But then, yes. Now I remember. He lost in his Contender Series debut against that fucking Cyprus dude, Christian Galapagos. Oh, Charalampos Gregorio knocked him out just out of fucking nowhere. His first loss. And now he's just been on the regional scene, just, getting a few wins here and there. He was in Fury FC and he won by round 3 Anaconda in his most.
Dude, I like Fury.
Yeah, Fury FC is solid, but then he had a split decision against a 7-1 opponent. He's like he can be inconsistent sometimes, and it's just crazy that Charalampos of all people knocked him out.
So Jake Hadley is 3-2 in his last 5, 11-3.
The greatest bantamweight of all time.
70-inch reach. Cameron Smotherman 11-4, 4-1 in his last 5 on the regional scene though. So Jake Hadley definitely was a guy I was fading during this 2-fight losing streak, and I actually picked Cal Logren to beat him, which was terrible because Cal Logren actually sucks.
Terrible for me. I honestly think I convinced Skatesman to pick him, which is one of my biggest regrets.
No worries. Yeah. No, I was dumb enough to go
fall
with
for me. Well, I got my beat poetry.
I mean, but we learned though that Cal Logren totally sucks, and Jake Hadley looked really good. So it's like, how bad is Cal Logren? Did Jake Hadley just look good against him? I think it's a little bit of both, right?
Yeah.
Jake Hadley just had a good performance that night.
Honestly, shocking that Hadley had such great striking in that fight. Like,
right.
Coming.
So, for some awful reason, I'm gonna pick Jake Hadley, but I wouldn't be surprised if he loses.
There you go. I'm going the exact same way. I'm picking Hadley by decision. Not a lot of insight from predictors going into this one because this is a fight on short notice. Who was it that Hadley was taking on before this? He was going to take on Brady Highstand. God, that would have been a fun fight. And we lost it. Shit, that's one of the best.
I would have picked Brady to win that fight.
They got rid of that. Yeah, Brady was going to win that fight, I think. But with Smotherman, he seems like a guy who's an all right striker, sort of like Jake Hadley was an all right striker before that Loughran fight. And yeah, he can get his takedowns, but I feel like Hadley would be more likely to take the back of Smotherman than the other way around. And after that fight at bantamweight, I think this is Hadley's weight division. I think it's more natural for him because he looked like a stud on the feet. He didn't look herky jerky like he did at flyweight. Like he actually has some like breathing room to let loose in the striking. I think he's going to be the more experienced and quality striker than Smotherman and just eke out a decision win against him. And there might be points where he gets Smotherman down since he's more used to the UFC as well. It'll be more like high pressure for Cameron Smotherman. As we saw with that debut at Contender Series, he doesn't seem to do all that great on the big stage, especially on short notice. So give me Hadley. He could even get a finish here.
JL, what's up, brother? He says, someone's dressed quite swanky.
Well, when I have to call the double feature and see the Giants win the pennant, I have to have my gear on.
And we're here at the premiere of King Kong.
Yes. And I got to have my transatlantic accent and have my cocaine lace.
I'm surprised you know what the transatlantic accent is. Nice.
Yes. Oh, of course I know, Skatesman. Oh, you never come here that often.
I have something to show you after the show.
My girl named Friday.
Says neither are ranked caliber. Yeah, that's why they're fighting in the Apex.
Smotherman is not UFC level. No, he is not.
Isn't Jake Hadley the guy Breno kicked into oblivion?
I don't think so.
And then Kobe's asking how you are. Yeah, weird. So the nenext fight will be Sumaderji taking on Charles Johnson. This will be a flyweight. Sumaderji is 3-2 in his last 5, losing to Tim Elliott 10 months ago by sub. And then losing by sub to Matt Schnell in that fucking banger of a fight that was sick as hell. On the other side, you got Energy, Charles Johnson, CJ, as Hank has coined him. He's 33, fighting out of the Lou. He's 5'9". Says he trains at Tiger Muay Thai. I doubt that, but anyway, he's 3-5 or 3-2 in his last 5 as well. Charles Johnson more active, has more skills on the ground. Sumaderji has some punching power though. Could knock out Charles Johnson? I don't think so. Charles Johnson just has been on probably the best run of his career as of late since like the LFA days.
Yeah, he's doing great. Knocking out Joshua Van, crazy.
Yeah, being super active, picking Charles Johnson, picking him by decision. Not much to break down here for me.
Yeah, I'm going to actually go with Johnson by knockout. Since he was able to knock down Hadley and he was able to knock out Van, like I think Energy has some inner fucking energy in his fists. I think he's going to have it on full display, especially since Sumaderji, I don't know, he got rocked by Matt Schnell. And dude, you can't get rocked by Matt Schnell at this point. I know that Cody Durden had a back and forth scrap with Matt Schnell, but then again, he could have easily shot a takedown and not got caught at all. And Sumaderji rocked Matt Schnell like 6 times before he got rocked by Schnell. Still found a way to get rocked and finished by Matt Schnell. So I think Charles Johnson is going to do it even easier since I think that Johnson is actually taller than Sumaderji. So he's going to have a height and I think a reach advantage. And it probably out-grapple Sumaderji as well. I honestly think he's better everywhere. Like if Sumaderji wants to shoot the takedown, I don't think he's going to get it since there are a lot of Eurasian fighters that weren't able to get Charles Johnson down. Like the reason that I picked CJ so many times is because his takedown defense is actually stellar since he's had a lot of experience with wrestling. And he's starting to really adopt a good amount of technique on the feet. And enough power that he can put the punches together against the cage. I really don't rate Sumaderji at all. I'm pretty sure he's not even in the top 15 at flyweight anymore. If he is, it's a fucking crime because Sumaderji has taken some embarrassing losses as of late. And I just feel like this is going to be a quick and easy fight where Johnson just outstrikes him. I think he's just taller and he's going to use that to his advantage. And he's in the fucking zone right now. What can I say?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if he'd knock him out, but yeah, that would be sick.
It'd be fun.
Because I don't know if Johnson has ever been like a knockout guy.
Except for the last 2 fights, apparently.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, just in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, JL has a very loaded comment here.
Only
very interesting. JL. He says Johnson is. This is so many like euphemisms here.
Trust.
Johnson is the dark horse, low key in the unranked pool of flyweights, a gatekeeper at the cusp of being ranked.
He's not.
When you say dark horse of a division, though, it sounds like you're saying he's like championship.
Find his way all the way to the top.
I don't think he'll ever be champ, but yeah, I mean, with all your exceptions that you put in that comment, I think you're spot on, man.
Pretty good. Well, I'm glad I'm spot on.
Not you.
No, JL.
Yes. JL. But anyway, next fight is Rob Font taking on Kyler Phillips at bantamweight. So Rob Font, jeez, dude.
That is
1-4 in his last 5. All he did, he lost to Davison, lost to Sandhagen. No shame in those losses, right? Knocking out Yanez, though, we were like, whoa, what the fuck? Rob Font's back. Then he, lost to Cheeto, where he got beat the hell out of by Cheeto. Outstruck him like so much in that fight. Just landed way more shots than Cheeto. But by the end of the fight, Cheeto just like nothing was done to his face, and Rob Font looked like a balloon.
Yeah, he just dropped him whenever he felt like it, pretty much.
And then lost to Jose Aldo.
That's not as sad.
He's 37. He's 5'8", and he's fighting out of the New England cartel, man. I don't know why I said that, but yeah. Just I remember when like the New England cartel was like a big thing, and then now it's like not. And then on the other end, you got Calvin Cater, or sorry, not Calvin Cater. That's one of Rob Font's teammates at the New England cartel. You got Kyler Phillips, beat Pedro Munoz 7 months ago. Brownie Barcelos he beat.
Solid.
Marcelo Rojo 2 years ago.
Finished him.
Holly and Paiva. Remember when Holly and Paiva was a thing?
Yeah, he was a thing.
And then he beat Song Yadong. So the biggest knock on Kyler Phillips is the guy just doesn't fight enough. But he's fighting in a span of 7 months, 2 fights in a year.
Pretty good.
Yeah, super sick. I've always been high on Kyler Phillips. He's definitely has some flaws. I think that Rob Font could beat him just in the striking game. I think that Kyler Phillips starts to fall off a cliff in the 3rd round as far as his cardio is concerned. But Kyler Phillips has a lot of skills, man. A lot of skills on the ground. A lot of cool different strikes. Like he has a spinning back kick that he throws a lot. That's sick.
He trains with O'Malley's camp as well. So
I don't think that Kyler Phillips knocks Rob Font out. I think if anyone does the knocking out, you'll see like the Adrian Yanez fight, right, where Rob Font just catches Yanez and knocks him out. But I mean, I have to pick Kyler Phillips in this fight. I don't see how you could, in good faith, pick Rob Font unless you're a degenerate better. But yeah, I got Kyler Phillips. I got him by decision. I think he's got more MMA skills, and I think he's going to put him to the test in this fight.
I think you picked right, Skatesman, because I'm going with Kyler Phillips by decision, same as you. As I said, he trains at MMA Lab with O'Malley and Welsh, and I mean, just look at that freaking profile picture. He looks like O'Malley without the colored hair, those fucking goofy ass glasses and the little goat beard, and he's got that unorthodox striking as well. Definitely doesn't have as much power as Sean O'Malley, but he's really good at putting those combinations together and having very unique timing with how he gets his strikes off. Whereas Rob Font is always, more of a technical, conventional boxing style.
Yes.
Every once in a while, he catches you with something big like a left hook, and he's given people problems for some of the fight, and that he got really unlucky against Sandhagen in that if he'd have just stuffed a few takedowns, he could have beaten Sandhagen because he.
The one thing about Rob Font, I'll say though, is he's like consistent, even though he loses a lot. Like
consistently bad.
With the boxing, he's very consistent, but it just seems like he's kind of one note in that regard.
And then that doesn't always help him, especially against guys like Figueiredo who's like shorter than him and was
Figueredo beat the hell out of him. It's kind of weird.
Beat the hell out of him. Incredible comment. That's why another reason why I think Kyler Phillips is just going to win, because I think he's faster. I think he's going to beat Raufeon with a punch most of the time here. Crazy speed and talent as well for like just finding weaknesses in his opponents and taking advantage of them. Whereas Fun is a guy who's like hoping that he gets the right shot and that he can like stumble you. And I just don't think that's going to happen against Kyler Phillips. I don't think his chin's been tested at all. And he may gas going into that third round, you're right, but he's going to take 2 rounds from Font first before he does that. So I just think he's going to style on Font for most of the stuff. That's my
says they're the same height. I don't think they are.
We'll see come weigh-ins. He's probably going to be
I don't think they are, though. I think that Rob Font's bigger slightly. Imagine if Tank was Skate and Skate was Tank. Would it be called Tank Skate or Skate Tank? Yeah, we debated that. Skate Tank sounds a little
Skate Tank worked. Yeah. And also the profile picture looked good with it as well.
Yes. All right. So the main event has come finally. We're here.
Yay.
Michel Pereira taking on Anthony Hernandez at 185 in this, unfortunately, for some reason, an Apex main event. Michel Pereira is 5-0 in his last 5. He's 31 and he's 6'1". His last 5 fights go like this: Ihor submission. That was one of the most embarrassing losses.
And almost got disqualified as well.
Yeah, because he fucking did a flip onto him. Seychuk, he subbed. Petrosky, he KO'd. Santiago Ponzinibbio, split decision. Interesting. That was at welterweight, I think, right? Andre Fialho, decision. Fluffy Hernandez on the other end. Subbed Roman Kopylov. KO'd Edmund Shabazian. Subbed Marc-Andre Barriault. Decision Josh Fremd. And subbed Rodolfo Vieira, which really is when he got put on the map. Was when he subbed Rodolfo Vieira. And he's 31 and 6 foot tall. So, Michel Pereira, man. This guy on the regional scene, he did all this crazy shit. When he came in the UFC, he did some crazy shit too against Tristan Connolly, and he lost for it. Since then, he cleaned up his act, and he fought a lot more patient and technical, which kind of made people sour on him, I think, a little bit. I was always stoked on him, but really he kind of had to do that because he was gassing hard in fights, even ones that he was winning. And then he goes up to middleweight, and he just looks fucking phenomenal in every single fucking middleweight fight. He's finishing dude.
Old Michel again.
Exactly. He's the fucking guy, and he embarrassed Ihor Pereira so bad that I can never, in good faith, pick him ever again in a fight. Though he did look all right against Cesar Almeida. And then on the other side, you have Anthony Hernandez, a guy who wasn't making a lot of noise until he had that incredible win against Rodolfo Vieira. We really saw that this guy can grapple. He can also strike too. One thing I really like about Anthony Hernandez is, like, I watched the interview with him, and he doesn't have social media. He doesn't follow fighting. Like, he just literally doesn't care at all. He just fights. Kind of reminds me of, not his hick, but like Bryce Mitchell. One thing I loved about Bryce Mitchell so much is when they would ask him about stuff in like his interviews and press conferences, he'd be like, I don't know much about that, brother. I'm just here to fight. I love that attitude. It's like, dude, I don't know. I'm here to fight a guy,
That's what the government told you. Yee!
You hate Bryce Mitchell, don't you?
No, I do like Bryce Mitchell.
I love that about him and Anthony Hernandez. Not his hick, but he just reminds me of that. Yeah. Just like, dude, I don't know. I'm just here to fight a guy. I don't know. I don't give a shit who he is. Like, and that, I think he truly lives that way, right? He's just down to fight anybody, and he gives it his all every time.
Unless it comes to his religion, and then it's freedom. And
that's Bryce Mitchell. But anyway, Michel Pereira, on the other hand, super flashy. I don't know any about his escapades outside of the cage, but I just know that this guy how could you not just love this fucking guy?
He's fun. Fun to watch.
He's like a toned down Johnny Walker, which is insane to say. The Brazilian guys always have a lot of personality. But shit, dude, this is a tough fucking fight to pick. If you picked either man, I wouldn't say you picked bad. Anthony Hernandez, I would say, has better grappling. Michel Pereira has better striking, flashier striking, more finishing ability at that as well, more explosive of the two. Yeah. I think Anthony Hernandez, though, is probably getting discredited a little bit as far as the striking goes. I think he has very serviceable striking and sneaky good striking. Yeah. Definitely their boxing is comparable. I just think that Michel Pereira with the knees and the kicks and shit and all the crazy capoeira bullshit that he tosses out there once in a while. He's a tough guy to beat, but if it goes to decision and in the later rounds of a tough fight,
this
is one of Michel Pereira's. Is this his first 5-round fight?
I don't think I've ever seen him have a main event or a co-main event. So probably
if it isn't his first 5-round fight, it's his first one certainly in a while. Yeah. So I think Anthony Hernandez certainly could go the 5 minutes, and he has the cardio to last. If you're gonna pick Anthony Hernandez, you pick him in the later rounds to be the. I think that Michel Pereira wins 1 and 2. Anthony Hernandez wins 4 and 5. The question to me is who wins the 3rd round if there isn't a finish. For that reason, I would pick Anthony Hernandez by decision. But again, MMA doesn't really work that way, man. It always surprises you. I think that Michel Pereira probably the guy to pick in this fight.
I'm looking at his opponents, and he's never fought anyone worthy of a main event. So I don't think he's ever had a 5-round fight. Michel Pereira.
Okay. Man, this is a tough fight to pick. I want to pick Hernandez. I want to pick Michel. I like both these guys a lot. I almost don't want to make a pick on this, but this is the show where we make picks.
Do your job, damn it.
Let me get Hernandez. Let me get him by decision.
Holy shit.
Again, though, I don't know. I don't know who's going to win this fight.
Yeah, I'm going with Pereira by round 1 KO. I actually think this is a pretty simple fight when you think about it. It's either Michel's going to find that first round finish with huge looping strikes, and the power is a difference, and he knows where to target Fluffy Hernandez in order to get the quick win. Whereas if this goes past round 2, you know how this fight's going to go. Like, Hernandez is going to get that back. I honestly think he could even get a sub on Michel Pereira because he actually looked pretty gassed at welterweight and was having some dudes who were like out wrestling him in moments. So I think that Hernandez could easily out grapple Pereira and maybe show him a thing or two on the feet once he starts to gas out. But I don't know, dude. I think Hernandez's weakness is to the body. And like he's got sort of a soft tummy, and he's had guys who have knocked him out and finished him by body shot before. And we saw with Michel Pereira, he got that nasty body knee over and over again on Mikhail Oleg-Zayichek. And unlike fucking Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, who could never take advantage of that to save his life, Michel Pereira got him out of there within a couple rounds, within a couple minutes. And I just think that he's gonna work to the body of Anthony Hernandez with big strikes and then knees right up the middle. Maybe he gets taken down for them. I mean, that could easily be a possibility, but I think that Michel Pereira is too fast for a lot of these guys at middleweight. I think that's going to include Anthony Hernandez, and eventually, oh God, Hernandez is just going to shit himself and buckle.
No chill arguing with me. He says it's Mikel, not Michelle. No, it's not. You guys are watching too much of MMA Guru.
It's Michelle.
It's probably more. It's probably more Michel.
Michel.
Yeah, and send me a clip of him saying his name. I guarantee you he doesn't say, my name is Mikel. He's fucking Brazilian, dude.
My name is Michel. I'm Michel. So I think Michel Pereira is going to get that body shot. I think he's going to crumble Hernandez and not beat him by submission, but I think he's going to hit him with just a big fucking ground and pound on bottom once he's crumpled. So there you go.
No Chill says he's not calling a grown man Michel no matter what. Fair enough. You know what, though? You do harpen me back to one of my famous lines. It's like, hey, if you think a fight's close and you think one guy is just more physically gifted than the other guy, you might want to go with the other guy. So this is a tough fight for me to pick. I just feel like if Michel does not finish Anthony Hernandez, I think that he will gas in the 4th and 5th round, and that'll be the time that Anthony Hernandez gets the win. But you know what? I think I'm going to switch my pick and I'm going to go Michel Pereira.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with him by round 2 KO.
I think I'm
going to Price is Right you.
Yeah. Damn it. Who's going to win the points? The price is wrong, bitch. So, yeah, I think Michel Pereira is sort of the mythical fighter at middleweight at this point. I think he's going to keep that train rolling.
I don't think he'll be champ.
And I've heard from people that like who are big Fluffy Hernandez fans who have picked him in every single fight he's had. They said this is like the one fight where they're scared for Hernandez. So I'm going to go with their fear. I'm going to go with Michel.
I like both guys. I
love both these guys. This is going to be a fun fight regardless. And I think it's going to be actually pretty quick. I could easily see Hernandez snatching us up. So it's going to be fun.
For sure. Well, dude, 2 hours. 2 hours we gone.
Always find a way.
I think it's time to end the damn stream. This weekend's full of fights, whether it's regional, whether it's boxing, whether Tim Tszyu is also going to fight. That'd be fun. I already kind of mentioned that briefly, but yeah, Tim Tszyu. There's a KOK kickboxing event. King of Kings, always fun. Muay Thai. I mean, dude, everything's happening this weekend. So if you're a combat sports fan, you will get your fill this weekend. Friday Fights is here in like 7 hours. So get some sleep. Wake up early. Watch Pontiac, the return of Pontiac. Do you have anything else to say to the people before we call it a stream and call it a day?
Skatesman's probably going to be doing a few fight companions this weekend, and I will be doing my usual Saturday fight companion for both Ferreira versus Ngannou and Pereira versus Hernandez. And both of those shows I think are going to deliver. So hang out on both of our fight companions because we are streaming it all, baby.
Mine'll be very late. I'll be going like all night Saturday. I'm going to be drinking lots of Red Bull and ruining my sleep schedule. My circadian rhythm is going to be way off.
But it'll be worth it.
To watch Rise? Hell yeah.
In this game.
Well, yeah. Hank the Tank, lead us out.
You have escaped the war zone for now. And it's a fly ball to left field. Oh, he's going to the first, the second base, third. Home run, the Giants win the pennant. Oh, my God, the baseball just crashed the Hindenburg and the Flames and the... oh, the humanity, my God.